Alright guys, Surgical here back again today. Hope you're all enjoying your Wednesday so far. Today I wanted to talk about this topic that really came out yesterday with the Chicago Huntsmen announcing their amateur tournament they're going to be holding at their home series. And I think April the 4th to the 5th. We'll look into exactly the details in a few seconds here. But a lot of people have come out and looked at some of the prizes that are on offer and kind of the incentives to win this tournament and said, look, this is super disrespectful to the amateur community, like insulting to a degree the caliber of these players that are trying to win these tournaments, and you know, some issues with the prize pool as well, but that has since been resolved. I'm intrigued to hear your thought process on this down in the comment section below, because in my opinion, this really does come from whoever's just made these decisions. Seems to me like they're kind of out of touch with the amateur community, and you know, is more trying to plan like a fan tournament rather than these amateur players who, you know, some of which who end up winning this tournament will be better, significantly so in some cases, than players currently in the CDL Pro League, in my opinion at least. So I think they could have definitely taken a different tack with this one. Some members of the community have come out saying, you know, for or against, I suppose, but it's pretty resoundingly, this wasn't a great, you know, it's not a great look, right? But we'll go into that in a few minutes time. Like, if you guys enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel grow, all of that good stuff. First of all, for those of you guys who still play Black Ops 4 League play, Treyarch say they're aware with an issue right now of it being locked out. They're working to get that resolved as soon as possible. Then we have this. So there was a patch that came out yesterday saying that with CDL rules enabled, the restrictions warning icon will be displayed next to the buttons. And apparently, within this somewhere, that, you know, thermites, throwing knives, and kill streaks banned in the CDL playlist. So the professionals don't use them. Now apparently they're going to be banned from the CDL playlist, which is a good showing. But a lot of people saying yesterday that this ban, this attempted patch, didn't actually make any change, which is kind of classic Infinity Ward. But they do come out today with this. Of course, all the relevant links to Corona CDL intel down in the description box below. And Infinity Ward now say a fix for this. So now fix for kill streak still functioning in CDL playlist. Now that's finally been fixed. Supposedly, if they get it wrong another time, that would be disastrous. But I don't think it's the case. So here we go, Chicago Huntsmen. Let's hop right into it. Ready to compete? Here is your chance. Challenges pass on sale tomorrow, 26th of February. That is today, if you guys would like to compete. $10,000 prize pool. Winners recognized on main stage by @Hex. This is kind of a cool thing, like at the previous tournaments. There, if you win, you get to go up on main stage. At the first, second, third team, you get presented like a trophy or something, and a little bit of talk about that team. Of course, look, we would love to have a situation where these games were streamed. I've talked about this in the past. I think it's really difficult for the amateur community and any of the players on the amateur teams to actually make waves in the scene if their, you know, talents can't even be displayed. Okay, yes, you come up on main stage and Hex gives you a pat on the back or whatever, but that's not the same as professionals that could potentially be trying to target some of these players, actually seeing them perform, you know, on a live stream. Say if they're in the green room and there's not too much happening, they could bring up the live stream of the amateur stuff, for example, and start targeting some players that they want to pick up to their team if, you know, things start going awry. So, you know, these two, not really an issue at all. Winners receive a meet and greet with the team. These are the two that really got people riled up, in my opinion. And to some degree, you know, for good reason. Winners receive a meet and greet with the team. Like, isn't this the kind of thing you get when you buy like a VIP pass and you can go, you know, backstage, get things signed by the team? I really don't see how a meet and greet with the team is much of an incentive to amateur players who, some of which, like let's say like Spacely, Nagafen, Fellow, and those kind of players win this tournament, which is, you know, very possible, right? Players that are just on the cusp of being good enough for the Pro League, but just, you know, slipping out for the time being. Those are guys that are already, you know, been in the Pro League before. They're well known, of course, by Scump and Formal and the guys on the Chicago Huntsmen. A meet and greet isn't much of an incentive. If you were running this tournament as like, oh, it's a 2v2 gunfight, come along, play with your mate. If you win, you can get to meet Scump and, you know, all this kind of stuff. That makes sense, right? But, you know, given the context of how good these players are, they're just on the cusp. Seems pretty disrespectful to say, oh yeah, this is the big incentive, like a 10k prize pool, but, you know, you get to meet Scumpy. And we'll go through some tweets in a second that go to a similar effect. And then this, 2 hours of gameplay analysis from our coaching staff for the winning team, which kind of sounds cool on paper, right? Sounds like a beneficial thing. But to some degree, the coaching staff are like the peers, if not even the inferiors, at least in the playing days, to some of these players. We'll have a look at that in just a second here. So just before we get onto it, $400 effectively for a team pass, $10,000 prize pool. They then came out with this just a couple of hours ago, so it's now $25,000, which is, you know, more respectable in my opinion. London was 10k, Atlanta was 25k. This is going to be 25k also. which I think is pretty damn good. But, you know, it's the sentiment that has got a lot of people annoyed. And even though on the MLG store, they have this same thing where it talks about, you know, the 2 hours of gameplay analysis, etc., etc. I found this tweet absolutely hilarious from Crone here, as Spoof says, I don't know about y'all, but meeting Gunless is a great perk to me. Talking about how, you know, if I win the Grand Finals, I get to meet Gunless, baby. Like, this is my dream. And Crone replies with this video of Justin Bieber meeting some fans, I guess, several years ago now. I look super young. I've never actually seen this video before, but this is genuinely hilarious. Exclusive look at Scub surprising Singularity Esports for their meet and greet prize. Honestly, just fantastic. And we have a lot of things to a similar vein here. A lot of people in the community talking about this. In my opinion, for good reason. You know, you may not consider this to be the biggest deal, but to me, it kind of shows things are out of touch. And, you know, from an amateur perspective, I wouldn't really be happy seeing this, because it shows that maybe the people making decisions at the organizations and also potentially at the CDL to some degree don't really respect the amateur players and their talent as much as they should. It's like, you're an amateur, you know, scumping that or a pro, you get to do a meet and greet. Like, yeah, come on, man. But yeah, you're telling me the biggest reward for winning this Challengers event is meeting Envoy. You know, Robbie B saying, winners receive meet and greet with the team, acting like this is challenges for a bunch of fans competing for fun. I could care less about a meet and greet. Imagine going into a grand finals trying to hype the team up, think about what's on the line, boys. We get to meet Scout. This tweet was funny. One map away, boys. How bad do you want to meet the king? Let's close it out. Round 11, you know, clutch time coming up. And this is this tweet from Dave that I talked about. So the coaching staff over at the Huntsman, you've got, I'm pretty sure Two-Back Thuglords over there, but you've also got Sender is their main coach. Now, Sender in his playing days, he was back on the Dream Team lineup back in the day. He had a couple of other notable teams, but he never did anything special. I think his best performance was maybe he came second at that event. It was the Stage 2 playoffs or something on that Dream Team lineup alongside Killer. They lost to Envy in the grand finals. That was maybe his best ever placing, to my understanding. And if you've got a guy like Dave, who, okay, yes, he's an amateur right now playing for Team War, but back in the day, he used to be considered one of the very best players in the game. Infinite Warfare time, for example, when he was on the Epsilon team that came third at CWL Anaheim, won all those kind of local tournaments, won CWL Birmingham, beating Splice 6-0 in the grand finals, you know, making the double sweep kind of comeback. That was fantastic, and he was considered at the time, and even in more recent iterations of the game, has been considered a really, really strong player. So, you know, he's the type of player, the type of talent that can be winning these grand finals, and then you're going to get 2 hours of Cinder telling you how to play the game. Someone that, yes, okay, he's a coach for the Huntsman, but all of these teams have coaches. How can we value really how effective a lot of these coaches are? Which says to me, for good reason, like, if I'm Dave or I'm another player that's in the amateur bracket that used to be in the professional scene, like, as I say, a guy like Spacely or something like that, who has, you know, had more success throughout your career than a guy like Cinder, if the prize is to then get 2 hours of coaching by them, it feels a little bit underwhelming. Like, you're telling me how to play the game, but, you know, do you not remember 3 years ago, mate, when I absolutely destroyed you in that tournament? It seems intriguing to me. This is the kind of stuff that you do if you're, you know, a low-level amateur team. Maybe you're trying to make your waves in 1Ks, 2Ks, try and get picked up, but, you know, some way, somehow. And, yeah, this is just something that doesn't sit well with a lot of people. And I think Dave is kind of in the right to say, like, what exactly is going on here? And then Level Daniel says this esports tournament, so IES 2020, I suppose, they're going to have a 15k prize pool and streamed matches. So this is up to 25k now, as we discussed. But, you know, is it likely we're going to get a stream? As we've seen with the previous tournaments, London, Atlanta, there was no live stream for this. Seattle, as we're looking in just a second, say that they have something like this in the works and are planning to live stream it. Hopefully that will come to fruition, because as I say, I think it's a pretty big deal. Imagine grinding COD for 6 hours a day for months. I mean, it's way more than 6 hours for the vast majority of these players, having thousands invested, you know, flights, hotel, travel, whatever, just to meet a COD team when Eagles get flown out and meet the team for free. And yeah, it continues along the same line. The perks to winning Challengers tournaments at Chicago is disrespectful, treating the challengers like they're fans instead of competitors. Roger that. This is the guy over at the Seattle. You address the problem. What would be your solution? Serious question. We don't want to meet anyone. We don't want some extra tickets. We want to win money and showcase our talent is all we care about. Lethal says, thought the same thing. You know, and I think for, you know, a competitor side of things, this is super understandable and makes a hell of a lot of sense. Parasite's in a different position right now. He's in a difficult position right now because he's trying to get on a new team, trying to get funding. I would have rathered all the challenges be done online and streamed if I knew it was going to be like this. Kind of like the Black Ops 3 regional stuff that they had back in the day, which is kind of cool. But, yeah, at the same time, it's work in progress, right? I can understand. This is the first season. We would like it to be better than it is. But then there are some people looking on the more positive side, right? So Easy Mac says, people, talking trash on Chicago for the prize pool, but at least it's an event. Every LAN is going to bring more money compared to the prize pool. Even Dallas's 25k tournament will bring in 48k through team passes. I do agree the meet and greet isn't a good look, though. And, Landos is a similar thing. The Huntsman meet and greet is blown out of proportion. To some degree, I think it is. Like, people going absolutely mental on Twitter about this, which I don't agree it's, like, that big of a deal. But look, because the AM scene is on edge for other reasons, certain players may not, find the time as valuable, but there are many that would. I hope the meet and greet is done well because it comes with long-term benefits. And I understand this, like, side of the coin, right? Given that, look, if you get to meet up with a guy like Scump or a guy like Envoy, they have connections within the scene a little bit down low. Maybe it's possible that, having made that connection and talk with them for a little bit, hopefully it's not just, you come and meet them, maybe they'll sign your controller. Hopefully this is like, maybe you go out for a meal with them or something like that, and you have more of a, discussion and a chat, and just chat about, your future in Call of Duty, what the plans are, these kind of things. And maybe if they're aware of you through that, then it's possible when you, want to play tens or something, you reach out to one of the guys you met on the Huntsman, they'll let you have a go and, get in one of the tens matches and move things forward in that sense. That makes sense if you're a team that wins and you're not particularly well known. However, most of these guys that are contending to be winning, now, not necessarily true. The Atlanta Fae is, I guess the amateur team that they have, the academy team, right, that won the most recent Atlanta Fae's home series, the amateur side of things. They had some guys in there that people wouldn't be too familiar with from the amateur scene that have really only come up over the last few months or so. So that could be a good potential for them to potentially build some connections and get into the scene. But at the same time, as Parasite says, for the majority of the guys that are playing here, or at least the majority of the guys that have a good chance of winning, they're pretty well versed in the professional scene anyway. And Bevel says, look, blown out of proportion, sure, still tone deaf, and to be honest, insulting, although I'm sure it wasn't meant to be, which, of course, nobody good enough to win a Path to Pro event is getting anything from a pro player, meet and greet. Speak for yourself, I'd love to hang out with Formal, he's nasty, I'll give you that. So just to finish off with in here then, the side of things from the Seattle Surge. Well, Bob Morris Jr. says the Seattle Surge Challengers event will be the best homestand event of the inaugural CDL season. Stay tuned. And just to finish with, so Adam Apicella replies to a tweet thread saying, why do anything without intentions of going as big as possible with as much effort as possible? Mediocre effort and narrow vision leads to poor execution. Always go big and grand with everything. If that is what you set forth to do with firm resolve, then let people know. We're increasing prize pool, we're trying to stream challenges, which makes things interesting to me because, if you're going to stream challenges, that means, you need casters, all of this stuff. Does that mean they're trying to work something out with Activision so that they can stream it to not take viewership away from the mainstream? Because if you wouldn't have to try, right? You could just execute because it costs money, but you can execute. Trying implies I have to go to Activision and ask if they can give me a few pennies here or there, or at least allow me to do it. We're creating content surrounding the stars of the Challengers bracket. We're going to have a Challengers trophy. We're working on more. This is really, really good stuff. Hopefully other organizations and other teams will take lessons from this going forwards. And yeah, that's pretty much all I had to discuss today. Intrigued to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below on this one. Really interesting topic to me. Is this insulting? Is this disrespectful? Or should amateurs be saying, fair enough, that's 25k that I can potentially win in the bank. But, it's not all about the money, right? It's about achievement. It's about getting on a pro team. That's what we're looking for. I don't think it executes that perfectly. Wasn't intended to cause offense or anything, but I think it's insulted a fair few players that, feel at the top of their game, but aren't quite in the CDL. Intrigued to hear your thoughts. Like if you guys enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new as always. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.